going to share with you now is for all of you who are involved in doing any form of outreach to be able to generate candidates. Essentially what this is going to do is going to help you to be able to provide more choice to yourself, more candidates, that you can then pass on to your customers in the form of more candidates, so that they have greater depth, more confidence of choice, and they start to see you as being a more valued recruitment partner. Because the reality is, at any one time, when you're doing your outreach work, you are going to encounter people who have different levels of appetite in looking for a job. And one of the things that you'll probably commonly hear is people saying to you, hey, I'm not looking for a job at the moment. So unless you are actively working the freshest of CVs that are posted on job boards and the freshest of applications coming into your inbox, which currently will represent somewhere in the region of 13% of your market, if you're doing anything to do outreach with the other 87%, then you are going to encounter those people who talk about current levels of happiness, current non-commitment to looking for a job, and just basically saying, hey, I'm happy where I am, I'm not looking for a job. So if we just pause that for a moment, I want you to think about the psychology of that individual. So let's think about what they're saying. They're saying to you, hey, thank you for calling, I'm not looking for a job. So the undercurrent is their perception is you are looking for people who are looking for a job. And perhaps it's because you've gone, hey, I've got this job and you've got the right skills. Does this look right for you? They're saying, hey, I'm not in the market for that right now. I'm not looking for a job. So their perception is you are on a very laser focused mission to find somebody who in the first 10 seconds is able to make a decision to say, yes, I am looking for a job and I believe that you have the one. So I think that their own thought process about you and your activity, we may need to challenge that. The second is, if somebody isn't looking for a job, either they've got one or they don't need one. If they have got a job, then their perception of why do I need another one is the question in their head. So perhaps if we were to investigate a little further with them how much they enjoy what they have at the moment, what it is that keeps them where they are, and we could show that betterment existed, it could create temptation. It doesn't automatically mean that they become unhappy. However, they could become tempted to take the next step forward, which would look like 5 minutes of conversation, perhaps 10 minutes of exploration to decide, is now the right time for them as a professional? Is what you've got a genuine definition from their perspective as the meaning of betterment? And then thirdly, and I think for us most valuable, is if somebody says, hey, I'm not looking for a job at the moment, I'm happy where I am, they're probably not under any pressure to move, and that's probably because they're doing a good job. And if they're doing a good job and they're being well looked after, it's probably because their current employer thinks that they are very good. And if your client has asked you to go and find somebody who has certain levels of competence, they may want to meet people who are good rather than people who are hungry. So that person who says, hey, I'm happy where I am and I'm not looking for a job at the moment, what they're saying to me is, hey Jeremy, I'm good at what I do, I'm being well looked after, so it's creating satisfaction, so you might want to invest a little bit more time in flattering me into realising that that probably makes me more interesting and valuable rather than waiting until I'm unhappy. So packaged in all of that, people, 3 things, yeah? The concept that people who are happy where they are and aren't looking for a job are good. So there's nothing wrong with saying to somebody, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but that probably means you're good at what you do, and I'm sorry if that offends you. It only makes me more interested in talking to you. What could stop you investing 5 minutes in exploring just for a moment what I have, just to ensure that you're not missing out on something that could utilise how great you are in even more abundance, right? So that moment of, hey, flattery, and only 5 minutes, yeah? Just 5 minutes. And when you get them to listen with intent, we've now made an advance, people. It may not feel like much of an advance, but compared to your competitors who hear, hey, I'm not looking for a job at the moment, I'm happy where I am, and they go straight into, oh, okay, who do you know who might be good for this thing? And they do a really weak referral fishing exercise that gets them nowhere. you're already more invested and invested in than probably 80% of your competitors get to. Second thing to think about is that whole idea, well, if they're happy where they are and they're doing a good job, then when would be the best time to actually take a look? And the best time to take a look is probably when you least have to, right? It's exactly the same for us when we do BD. The best time to do your BD is when you've got work because you come across as less needy. The best time to actually look at what's in the marketplace as a professional is when you least need it because you can make better decisions. The worst time to look for a job is when you haven't got one and the world feels as though it's turned against you and you come across as being a little bit too needy, and you get compromised and somebody takes advantage of your situation and lowballs you on salary. Professional to professional here, the best time to look is when you are at your most valuable and at your least needy. So I would say, based upon what you've said, now would be a great time to do this. So the I'm not looking for a job, I'm happy where I am, we should really embrace it. We should go, oh my God, that's such good news. I'm so pleased to hear it. Like, I'm pleased to hear it for them as a professional. I'm so glad that you enjoy what you do. You won't believe how many people I talk to who are dissatisfied with what they've got. And there are plenty of people who I talk to who often sit back and think about, I wonder what else I could be doing that's different. So if you enjoy what you're doing and those questions don't cross your mind, then you're probably doing the right thing. What would it take? And maybe if we go into an angle of temptation after a period of acknowledgement. So there is some important things to consider here, people. The most important thing to consider is whether you believe when somebody says I'm happy where I am and I'm doing a good job, that you have something that would be worth talking about for 3 minutes, for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, whatever that window is you feel you need. If you believe that what you've got is so good, and you allow them to go with their dismissive, I'm happy where I am, the danger is you've let them down. So if you want to be able to provide a better service to these people, challenge them. Challenge them with a smile. Challenge them with some flattery. Show them what they're actually saying makes you more interested in talking to them than not. So when you get those messages in response to emails and to LinkedIn messages saying, thanks for your message, however, I'm not looking for a job at the moment, and you just reply back with a simple line saying, that only makes me more interested in talking to you. When could we grab 5 minutes either today or tomorrow? And you'll be surprised at how many people actually respond positively to that because it never gets sent to them unless that person knows me. So, take a moment, think about the roles that you're working on today, think about those people who you've approached recently, think about what's in your inbox, think about those messages you've got on LinkedIn, and start to reframe things in your own mind. And as you reframe it in your own mind, you can reframe it in theirs. Hey, thank you for watching. If you want to continue to get access to more high quality training and coaching ideas to help you to stay inspired as a recruiter, make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe, and check out the description below for relevant links to tools, frameworks, and other ideas to keep you moving forward. And I look forward to seeing you on another one very soon.